What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about more things that could have been or could still be, as I like to say, in Justice League 2/3. So, I talked about this a few days ago. We talked about how Zack Snyder basically said if they were to be, 2 and 3, or his vision for those movies, one of the things that would happen is that we would actually see the fight scene between Joker and Robin, which would end with Robin being eliminated, let's just say, so that YouTube, stays happy. And I'll only say that for the first part of this video. Well, I guess in the same interview, which I should have probably read it, I don't like to support the Time magazines and the Esquires of the world, Variety, so I didn't actually, read the entire thing. But Screen Rant provided this, and he actually talked more about it, that he would actually have filmed a Harley Quinn death scene, along with the deaths of Aquaman and Lois Lane. Now, what's interesting, and again, maybe I should read the article, but you know what? I'm just not going to do it. At this point, it's just not going to be worth it. What about Wonder Woman? I don't understand why. So you have the Robin v. Joker. You'd have Aquaman dying, which we saw in the the flash forward by Cyborg, right? The premonition of what's to come, with Darkseid stabbing him with his own trident. Harley, we don't necessarily know who or how she would die, but we do know that she would be like bleeding and begging, in Batman's arms. So that, and then I want to talk about that, in a few minutes here. But so we know that, and then Lois, it's tough because I think the idea of the sketchboard, like the art stuff that was happening, it would be Darkseid's eye vision thing. I'm not a comic book guy, so I don't know what that power is, but that would be the thing that kills Lois, I'm pretty sure. However, Joker has something to do with it too, so I don't necessarily know how Lois would die. So those are, again, three things that I want to see, and we'll talk about that in a second, but it's just interesting just to throw it out there. Wonder Woman is also dead. I would imagine Superman would be the one to do that. Would we see that happen, or would we just kind of skip ahead from 2 and 3 and you would just find out that she's dead, which I would assume would kind of be the way it is. So let's read this, okay? And it's very actually short. So while speaking to Esquire, Snyder shared his original plans for multiple installments of the Justice League, including a sequel that explored the deaths of Aquaman, Harley Quinn, and Lois Lane. That's just talking about elements in those movies. In the director's sequel, Cyborg would have witnessed a vision of these tragic moments. When asked if these stories would later be explained via expositional dialogue, he responded, "No, we were going to shoot those, and they would have had elements of what Cyborg sees." So that's so they were asking him basically what I just said with Wonder Woman. Do we hear about these people dying, right? Or do we actually get to see them? And it's kind of no, we would shoot them, and maybe it would actually be kind of a mixture of both. So here's what I want to say. It's the same thing with the Robin Joker one. So if you guys didn't watch that video, it was a video 2 days ago. I'm recording this as the video is going up, so I don't know if it even did well, if people actually even wanted this. But, one of the things I said there is it's a thing where I'm very excited, and I would want to see these things, because I really feel especially this would provide depth to these characters. Whether or not it would be good depth, or whether or not we like it or hate it, at least I wouldn't even go so far as to say at least it's more with the character. Because when you say more does not mean that they actually have layers to them, right? That does not immediately equal it. But to me, I think it actually, in Zack Snyder's case, I think it would. I think if we learned anything from the Snyder cut, while yes, Aquaman still didn't get the biggest thing in the world, and other characters were already kind of established, if you give him enough time, now maybe you need to give him 30 hours of film time, and that could be debated amongst yourselves, but if you give him enough time, I do think he creates meaningful layers and depth to these characters. He's not showing them more just to do it. You know what I mean? I think that now maybe some the women singing to Aquaman and smelling, it's there are scenes that don't need to happen, but they don't really flesh out any character. So I would say the additional scenes with characters that he does that are actual main characters, right? It's not just to put them in there. He actually provides more to them, okay? So that's why I would kind of be all down for a Robin versus Joker scene. Now, would Jared Leto's Joker ruin it? Would it be something where oh yeah, it sounds good on paper, that when you see it, you're oh, I don't like that. But it's at the same time, I still would want it to happen. You know what I mean? It's kind of the same thing with the Snyder cut. I mean, it could have been bad, it could have been good, it could have been in the middle. We didn't 100% know going in, but the point is, don't even necessarily trust his vision, but we want his vision. We know he has a vision, and we want him to tell it, and we respect that, right? That's kind of, when people go after the quote-unquote toxic fans, I don't see it. I'm sure there are some bad people, but there's bad people everywhere. In reality, I think it's actually the best thing, because, like, not even all of us were on this bandwagon simply because, oh yeah, we just know it's going to be so amazing. No, there were plenty of people that were fully in support of this that don't like him, don't like his movies, but support the idea that he can tell his version of the story. That was the entire point, and that's beautiful, because again, it's the same thing here, right? While I don't know if they can do Harley's death scene justice, I don't know if they'd be able to kill off Aquaman in a good way. The point is, if he has that vision, and we, again, not even necessarily trust him, but we just, like, go ahead, like, do it. And we may not like it, and we'll call it out if we don't like it, but go ahead and do it. I think that's a really awesome thing, and it's a very powerful thing, again, that was proven successful with Justice League. I think there's less things that can go wrong with this versus, so, like, the Robin Joker stuff, like I said in that video, like, I'd want it, but then, like, the negatives, again, like the Jared Leto thing, that could definitely derail it, so it's definitely more mixed to me. Like, I would watch it, and I would actually want him to put in the movie. I would not go in assuming it's going to be the greatest thing of all time. Okay, that's I guess, how I would think of that. This one, I think there's less room for them to mess it up. You know what I mean? Like a death of Aquaman, Harley Quinn, and Lois Lane. To me, the Aquaman one maybe would be kind of, like, we like him, like us as an audience, but in terms of characters in the movie, I don't know how emotional you can make it, because then, like, who is really gonna mourn him? And I'm not saying, like, he's totally unlikable, but, like, are we focusing on, actually, no, we know who we're focusing on, Mara, right? Because we heard her talk about in the epilogue, right, the nightmare scene in the first one, about how she's just so upset that Arthur was killed, and she's gonna do all this stuff to Superman. And it's like, okay, Amber, shut up. So, like, that's that. It's like, okay, well, that's probably not gonna work all the well, because nobody really likes Amber Heard. So it's like, well, I don't know if that would be the biggest thing. However, let me say this. The other two, I think, are pretty, they're not slam dunk successes, but they're pretty darn close, because the Lois Lane thing, like, that would be emotional for Batman. That would be emotional for Superman, obviously. And that would be a very a plot, like, it would drive the plot very heavily. So I think that would be very important to see, and would be very, very cool to see. And then Harley, yeah, I mean, actually, for multiple reasons. One, if you do want to help Joker at all be, like, a good character, which I know I keep picking on him. I don't despise him, but I definitely don't like this version of Joker. But if you want to help his character, I do think playing around with Harley is a way to do it. The Batman thing, right? Because then that kind of adds more, like, like, emotional stake to the nightmare stuff, where, he's talking about it. Well, to see it would be something else, right? Because you can see the emotion in Harley, you can see the emotion in Batman, and that would kind of drive home, because the whole point is, like, he really does want to kill Joker, but he can't because of that truce card, right? Because if he kills Joker, for whatever reason, that will doom them all. He needs Joker alive, right? And I think that is powerful on its own, because I think the nightmare sequence actually kind of delivered that. But I think what would make it even more is really with him struggling, like, hey, like that hurt me so much to see Harley die in my arms, and her telling me, like, you kill him and you make him suffer, right? And so, like, that adds depth, not just to Joker, not even just to Batman, because that would be a cool thing too, but also to Harley, because she will be in other DC stuff, right? She'd be more multi-layered than she is now, which I would argue she's not really all that layered as it is, okay? So I think that would actually really help her character as well. So to me, these are scenes that would really, in different ways, help the characters. Maybe Aquaman not as much, but definitely the other two. And then again, you go to the Robin Joker stuff, that could help Joker. It could actually hurt him, but that could help him. And then Robin, that could help Batman. That absolutely could help Batman, again, because that layered. And then you get to cast a Robin, which would be pretty cool as well, right? So, again, it's a situation where I like hearing more about it. I want to see it. Restore the gosh darn Snyderverse, right? So I'm going to continue making these videos. I have a couple different ideas. I do just want to have a general video on restoring the Snyderverse, so we'll see how that goes. If you guys have any wants of me to make different kinds of videos, definitely let me know. But if there's any news that happens on Justice League 2 or 3, or anything that Zack says that I find interesting or something like that, I'll absolutely cover it on the channel, okay? Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on, so you know when all the videos go up. If you haven't already, follow me on Twitter. PodcastNow15 is my Twitter handle. We're so close to 2,000 followers. We can do it in just a few days at this point, so make sure you guys are following me over there. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you all on the next video.